Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cesar Espinoza, your favorite Houston probate realtor. And today I'm going to be interviewing Tyler Goins. He's an estate specialist. Thank you so much for joining us, Tyler.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So if you've inherited property, chances are that you're probably going to need to go through the process of cleaning, selling, the belongings from the folks that you've inherited the property. And Tyler specializes in that. So Tyler, I was wondering if you could share with us a little bit more about what it is that y'all do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a estate sale and auction company specializing in estate sales. We don't do as many auctions these days, but so basically we come in and organize, price all the items, do all the research, advertise, run the sale, and then sorry, but yeah. So
So
man,
so you guys take care of all of it from the point where, you just come in, you take inventory of everything, and then you market the estate sale, and is that right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do primarily advertising on estatesales.net, but things like Facebook, tons of different avenues that we have that we can advertise. We have a great following of regular customers that come to pretty much every sale. And we've been in the business about 30 years. It's a family business. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Is your dad's the one that started it?
Yeah. So he became an auctioneer about 35 years ago now, and started doing estate sales about 25 years ago. And we've been doing them ever since.
Awesome. And what's the name of your company?
It's Treasure Hunt Auctions and Estate Sale Services.
Okay, awesome. Well, with all that experience, you guys have a lot to offer then.
Absolutely. And we have a great team around us, different people that specialize in different things. So really, my dad's got a great art background. I specialize more in jewelry and collectibles, things like that. And then we have a guy that specializes in tools and other things. So it's really a great team that comes together, and we do an amazing job on a lot of these sales.
Good deal. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's clear that you guys have so much to offer. So let's jump into some questions that I wrote for you. Is that okay?
Certainly.
Okay. So what should someone know before organizing an estate sale for the items that they've inherited?
I would say do your own research too. Know what you have. Don't go in blind. There's a lot of companies out there that will take advantage of that. So know what you have. Make sure your family knows what you have before, and then it's not a surprise to everybody. Like, oh, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good idea to keep some kind of record. We just did a sale where the gentleman, he was actually an accountant, and he had everything listed in a spreadsheet, how much they paid, how much they retail value was at the time, and stuff like that is helpful not only to us but to the family. There's so many times where they have a beautiful piece of original art and they're just like, I don't know what this is. And I've seen families try to do the sale themselves where they price an item $1-2, it ends up being $400 or $500.
Yeah.
So definitely know what you have. That's a big piece of it that I would
Okay.
recommend.
So kind of do an inventory of what you have and do your own due
Mhm.
diligence.
Yeah, that helps. I mean, and it's something that we do as well, but I just think in general that that's something that I see that people overlook a lot.
Okay, great. And so in terms of valuing the inherited items, how do you determine the value of the items that have been passed down through the inheritance?
We do our own research. We have a ton of experience, but there's lots of ways to go about it. I mean, the internet's a great resource. So
Yeah.
things like eBay sold is a great way. And then just doing this for so long, there's not a whole lot of things that we haven't sold. So other than, like I was saying, like original art, which is a little more difficult, sometimes you can get a pretty good standard of what they're selling for, but most general household items are easy to price for us. And then you get into the specialty items that just, it comes with experience and knowing where to look.
Yes, yeah. See, like the other day I sent you the picture of that stove. That looks like an antique stove. I wouldn't know how to price that out.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's weird. So they can go for, 200 or 300 not working, or upwards of a couple of thousand restored, so
Yeah.
things like that. It's like, you just got to find find the right spot and, figure out exactly what to price it, because also you're looking at a short-term liquidation. We don't have all the time in the world to sell the stuff, so you usually can't price it full retail. And at the end of the day, it's only worth what someone's going to pay for it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so, what are the most valuable types of items that you commonly find in the estate sales?
I would say jewelry usually, and that is my specialty. Something I really enjoy. But it, people are always surprised what, especially with gold being basically at an all-time high right now,
Yeah.
what just a regular gold bracelet or gold necklace or diamond ring is really worth. So that a lot of times is a surprise to people, and a very good source of revenue.
Terrific. So other than jewelry, is there any other like unexpected categories that items that hold like a lot of value that a lot of times people don't recognize that?
There's always, I mean, antique furniture, but the market for that has slowed down quite a bit. Mid-century modern stuff is still pretty hot and can be very expensive. Artwork, definitely original art, signed prints, things like that. Then collectibles. I mean, sports memorabilia, sports cards. There's
Coins, what about
watches,
coins?
coins. Absolutely. I mean, silver is also very high right now. But then you get things like graded coins and silver dollars, and there's gold coins going way back, and uh, artifacts. There's so many different categories and so many different things, and pretty much each category has items that can be worth a ton of money. And that's where we come in, and we have the experience to go through, sort what's good, really highlight those items, get the right people in to come buy them.
Got it, got it. And so how do you help clients decide which items they should sell and which items they should just keep?
Well, it's really up to them. I mean, a lot of times, another thing that sells really well is firearms. And so a lot of times I'll say, especially if they have a big collection, you know, keep most of it. Most people want to keep them these days, and put one or two in, because it might draw a couple hundred people to the sale.
Oh
Just
wow.
having one in there, and lines out the door at 8 a.m. when we open at 10.
Oh
It's
wow.
crazy. They go like hotcakes. So that's something that I recommend. Keep some, sell some, and then but it's really up to what do you really care about. Don't
Yeah.
keep stuff that you don't need. I mean, you can. It's sometimes it's hard to make that separation. Like if you got an emotional attachment to something. And I actually recently just did my grandparents' estate, so I experienced that a little bit, where it's like, wow, I remember this item growing up, saw it all the time, but do I really want it? Do I need it? Does a family member want it or need it? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, most items, the answer is no.
Got
So
it.
it's really up to like personal preference and what they really want. And we're really supportive on that, especially if we find things that are keepsakes or things we think we should set aside, especially photographs, things like that. We always sort that stuff, set it aside. I'll send them a picture, be like, hey, is this something you want to keep? We
Yeah.
found people's diamond engagement rings that they thought were years lost,
Yeah.
and were able to give them back to the owner, and they were thrilled. So,
Excellent, excellent. And so how much time should families typically plan in preparation for the estate sale?
so usually we'll come in a normal home. It's not loaded with stuff. We can come in first. We'll make an appointment, come in, take pictures, kind of get an idea of what's there, and then if we agree to do the sale, we'd come back, set up. Normally, we can come in on a Monday and have the sale ready to go by Thursday.
Okay.
But it really all depends. It's case by case. There's some sales we have to be there a month, but that's not the average home.
Yeah.
We've done sales where it's an airplane hangar full of 100 cars.
Wow.
So yeah, it really just depends on what's there. And certain items take more time to research than others. And so if you've got a ton of, a massive stamp collection, that's
Yeah.
going to take more time than just pricing out, you know, jewelry or average household items. So it's really case by case, but generally within a week, we can have the sale set up, ready to go. And then the sale is usually 3 to 4 days.
Really? Yeah. I remember you were telling me about Y'all did an estate sale up in the Dallas area, was that right? Very
Yeah,
unique.
we did one in Arlington, and that was one of my favorite that we have done. Really, really neat. The guy was a famous Texas painter, and he had one of the most significant Native American and Civil War artifact collections in the country. Just
Wow.
incredible pieces. Really, we had it looking like a museum in there. People really enjoyed it, but that took a ton of time to set up because it's not your average items. We brought in experts on Civil War period items and on Native American items to help us price those accurately.
Yeah, that must have been an awesome sale there. And
Yeah, it was.
that one didn't just take one weekend. That one, how long did that one take?
We actually did 4 weeks there in
4 weeks.
all, and spread out quite a bit. So the the first week we weren't even able to fit everything in the sale. There just wasn't enough room, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes we have to come and do 2 weeks. 4 weeks is very rare that we are even able to do that. But this one was a little bit of a unique case with $40,000 art pieces and some of the most beautiful furniture I've ever seen. But so that one took about a month of setup, and then we did one sale, waited a few months, did another, then did two a little closer together to finish it off.
Oh, that's
But
great.
yeah,
So Tyler, what are some common mistakes, or what are some mistakes that people should avoid when managing an estate sale?
I would say one, try to do it yourself. I'm actually in some groups on Reddit, estate sale groups, and someone was
Yeah.
asking about doing it themselves, and people were recommending it, and I'm like, you really don't want to do that. Um, like I was saying earlier, people will price items $1, $2 that's worth 400 or 500, and it's something that I can pick up or one of my coworkers can pick up, and they'll know immediately, like, yeah, this is expensive. It's like old sign uh art pieces or glass pieces that you just walk by like, oh, that's neat, but in reality it's very expensive. It's mid-century, signed art piece. So things like that, I highly recommend a professional. And how many times I've gone into sales where they've tried to do it themselves and just gotten burnt out. And it's and a lot of people are hesitant. We work on a percentage, so people are hesitant. They want to get the most money possible for their estate, of course, but really going with a professional, you'll end up making more if they're pricing the items right. And they have their following, they know how to negotiate, which can be tiresome in an estate sale, then security is also a big concern.
Yeah, that's right.
You really like a lot of times we have armed security there or off-duty police officer, just depending on the sale. Another thing that's case by case. So there's lots of reasons too, and I always recommend using it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that. It's kind of like selling real estate. You can do it on your own, or you can hire a professional. And I've got a lot of clients that have tried to do it on their own, and they'll call me up a month later to say, Caesar, I'm through with this. I'd rather just hire you.
Exactly.
For a lot of the
Yeah.
same reasons that you mentioned: security, liability. They're not used to negotiating. They don't
Hmm.
know the market. Maybe they're under, they're selling their home for lower than that they should be selling it. So kind of a lot of the similarities between, having a professional estate sale company take over versus you trying it yourself.
Of course. And I've seen so many people that are entertaining like the cash buyers that come in and want to buy the home, like, and we'll get a dozen of them every time we do a sale, coming, hey, I'm ready to buy the house cash. And I'm like, stay far away. Like, just put them through your realtor, like,
Yeah,
just so that I always recommend using a professional in real estate as well. Same thing. I mean, it's really, you get the most out of it that you can.
that's right. So how do online sales compare to traditional in-person estate sales for inherited values? Like, let's say just going the online way with one of these portals like eBay or whatever versus hiring a professional company like yours.
Sure. So there online sales is something that we can offer as well.
Okay.
So there's sites like HighBid now where they're basically online estate sales, and they run in an auction format. Uh, Usually I don't recommend that unless the client is in a neighborhood where they can't have sales.
Okay.
Um, but even then, it's usually about 30% of what you would get in an in-person sale.
Okay.
So you don't get as much. you don't get as many eyes on it because we don't have the signage. You know, it's just the people that are clicking on the ad through estatesales.net, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we'll get, you know, some sales 20, 30,000 views on a sale, like the one I was telling you about in Arlington. But
Yeah.
some sales, it's only a few thousand. And then usually you expect about 10, 15% of the views to show up in person. But so having that just walk-in customer base as well that you're getting from all your signage, we use great big red signs with arrows, bringing everybody in. And that's a big part of it that you're missing out on when you're not doing the sale in person.
That's excellent. So what advice do you have for someone that's hesitant about selling their inherited items through, you know, that through an estate sale, through, you know, hiring y'all?
Well, what I hate to see is people that just hold on to stuff just to hold on to stuff. You know, you don't want to, and especially with storage units being this expensive, it's like I've had to tell so many people, it's like, well, where are you going to put it? You know, it's like you don't need all this. What do you really want? You know, condense it down to what you really want, what you can feasibly store and hold on to without it becoming a burden. You know, and it's after you store it for so long, it's worthless. You know, you end up paying a couple $100 a month, and you know, after a couple of years, whatever's in there just doesn't have any value anymore. You've already spent it all on storage. So
Storage.
and you know, and then a lot of times you'll get to the next generation and they don't want it. You know, like
Right.
it, things like China and crystal that have really just, the market has almost died for them. Like there's still some interest, but not like it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you know? So I always recommend just selling it and moving on. Generally you'll feel better. Like keep what really matters to you, you know, what stuff that you really care about, stuff that's unique to your family, you know, brings back good memories, but then the rest, just sell it, let it go.
That's right. Well, Tyler, you've shared so much valuable information today. So whether it's understanding how to value the items, deciding what to keep or what to sell, or maximizing the profits, I'm sure you know, everybody that you help out, they'll feel more. At least my viewers are going to feel more prepared for the estate sales process. So if you have any questions about the probate process or need help selling the home, feel free to reach out to me. And if you're considering an estate sale, definitely contact Tyler. And I wanted to thank you, Tyler, for coming on board. And, you know, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think that's all. Thank you so much for having me though. Much appreciated.